Welcome to That's the Word, wholesome tales for the whole family. I'm Father James Yamauchi. Today's story, Beware of Strangers. It's good for children to have a healthy suspicion of strangers. By and large, people you meet on the street are decent, but it's better safe than sorry, especially for kids. The children met this woman around town a few months ago. The town was small enough to where they knew every person, and they knew she wasn't from the area. They would see her about once a month. They would stop and talk with her for a few minutes when they met. Their parents and the other townsfolk, however, did not quite trust this woman. They were extremely suspicious of her, particularly the mother of one of the girls. One summer day, the children met the woman again around town. They asked her for some credentials or proof that she was trustworthy. She held off on this request, but said that she would have something for them in the fall. Fall came, and the children saw the woman again around town. This time, the woman did have her credentials. She rose up into the air and proceeded to disappear and reappear in different ways. First, she appeared with her husband and child. She disappeared and reappeared with her child, now grown to an adult. She disappeared and reappeared once more by herself. This is the sign that the children saw. However, the adults and others that were with them that day saw something equally astounding. They looked up and saw the sun was dimmed so that they could look at it without hurting their eyes. As they gazed, the sun, high in the sky, began to spin and dance. Colorful shoots of light came out of the great ball of fire. Then the sun grew bigger and bigger and bigger. The sun was falling to earth. The people shrieked and panicked. Just before it hit, the sun stopped. It hung there very low for a moment. Then it slowly rose back into its place in the sky. The sun's erratic movement in the sky was seen by approximately 70,000 people in the vicinity of the town and reported in secular newspapers. But the woman was only seen by the 3 children. She met them around the town, specifically the outskirts, where they tended their sheep, where she encouraged them to offer prayers and sacrifices for sinners and to pray the rosary daily. These apparitions made the children famous and notorious in the region, both from religious folk who thought the children were blaspheming and making up stories, and from the massive anti-clerical movement in the country, which sought to stomp out any religious activity and thought the children were making up stories. Both groups were corrected in a magnificent way when tens of thousands of people, believers and non-believers alike, beheld in the sky the miracle of the sun. A miracle to prove that Lucia dos Santos, Saint Francisco Marto, and Saint Jacinta Marto really did see this woman in the sky, Our Lady of Fatima. And for this week, that's the word. You may have noticed at the end of our story that Francisco and Jacinta are both canonized saints, but Lucia is not yet a saint. Lucia is a servant of God, so her process of canonization has begun. And the simple reason for this is that while Lucia lived to the age of 97, 98, she died in 2005, her cousins, Francisco and Jacinta, both died within 3 years of the miracle of the sun.
Both of them were canonized only in 2017, actually.
So very recently. And what's fascinating about the miracle of the sun is the fact that there are a lot of people who witnessed this miraculous occurrence who were non-believers.
Whenever you talk about skepticism in the faith or in God or anything like that, I always come back to you got to reconcile the miracle of the sun. Really, the best answer that a skeptic can give is, well, mass hysteria. But I'm not quite sure how you get mass hysteria with 50,000 people, a good number of which are skeptics who themselves see it. You have journalists who spent months attacking the visionaries and their supposed hoax, then show up to the miracle of the sun and report seeing the sun dancing in the sky and falling to the earth. And how you also control the people who are several miles away who are seeing this happening in the sky. It really is probably the most dramatic miracle that God has worked in modern times.
Now it's trivia time.
Dun, dun, dun.
Last story's trivia question was,
who wrote out the formal surrender document that Robert E. Lee and Ulysses S. Grant signed?
The answer is
Colonel Ellie Parker, Grant's military secretary and an Iroquois chief. When Robert E. Lee walked in, he looked at Colonel Parker for a while, then commented, "Well, I'm glad we have one real American here." Colonel Parker responded, "Sir, we are all Americans."
This story's trivia question is,
on what date did the miracle of the sun occur? That question again. On what date did the miracle of the sun occur?
If you think you know the answer, email us or contact us on social media and let us know.
If you enjoy That's the Word, please share the word. You can see the story extras for this story, Beware of Strangers, at thunderrock.org, where you can see articles from secular newspapers reporting on the miracle of the sun. Thunderrock.org is also where you can sign up for our weekly newsletter and where you can find our social links and our email if you have any feedback or story ideas.
Thanks for listening, and join us next Wednesday for another wholesome tale for the whole family.